Hey guys, how y'all doing? It's part two. I don't know why they had me do the Zeus thing, but I'm doing it. Okay. So yeah, we stopped off at Zeus and the AI. Okay, I think I read all of that. And Superman being 7 letters. Zeus 4. No idea equals 11 plus Superwoman 7, 8, 9. So they make it 9 for the Superwoman. I don't know. Just writing it down. Okay. Then we got, Spider Woman. Oh, I don't think about Superwoman. Spider Woman. Spider Woman. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that's 11. So we got Superman and Zeus together equals 11. Um, and then Spider Woman by herself is 11. 11, 11. Don't know. Fix me some coffee. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to have that down. Okay. Now we got I just came from outside. I am cold. I'm still cold. Take this off little by little. But anyway, so talked about Demolition Man. Oh, and it wants me to talk about some sea animals. Like I talked about the jellyfish. They have no touch as well. Let me see something. And some other ones that I looked at documentary, or not documentary, a Nova when them Earth things, and they were talking about how they just spurt out the sperm to some type of fish or something, and the eggs hit the eggs, and then the eggs develop no intimacy either. The jellyfish project, the jellyfish project. Okay, I just thought I'd do it. Let's see. The Jellyfish Project is celebrating 10 years of combining the power of music with engaging presentations, inspire youth to take effective action to protect our environment and address the climate crisis. We reached over 113,000 students. Help us reach 113,000 more. Climate Accord presentation. Now more than ever, people of all ages need to hear about the solutions we can implement to address our environment crisis and be encouraged to take action to build a more sustainable, equitable world. The Jellyfish Project is a registered charity, unique in its collaboration with musicians to deliver informative and empowering environmental presentations to middle and high school students. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Trying to get it. Trying to say all the stuff that they been telling me to put in my head. So okay. Um, yeah. Okay. So, oh, this they want. Okay, it clicked on it. So they said, yeah. But you scared she left you? Oh, I thought you was yeah, you walked down there fast and left and ran. Yeah, I'm gonna get this. Oh, okay. She told me she left me. Oh, I'm. Two other names were in the alphabet called Thorn and Thorn and Wynn. So they wanted me to stress that as well. How old is the alphabet? Before we get to the history of specific letters, let's talk about a bit about Old English. English was first written in the Anglo-Saxon. Put my half glasses on. Anglo-Saxon Futurok, Futhorc, Runic alphabet, also known as Anglo-Saxon. The Angles and the Saxons came from Germany and settled in Britain in the 5th century. The region they inhabited came known as Angleland or England. Eventually, Christian missionaries introduced the Latin alphabet, which began to take a hold around the 6th century and ultimately replaced Anglo-Saxon. But for some time, the alphabet included the letters of the Latin alphabet, some symbols like the uh, and symbol, and some letters of the Old English. As modern English evolved, the Old English letters were dropped and replaced. Our trusty alphabet isn't the only part of the language that has changed. October used to be the 8th month and September the 7th month. Wow, didn't know that. Did I? What is the letter thorn? Thorn. Here's an example. Old English, a letter called thorn represented the th sound, as in that. In modern English, in the Latin alphabet, the Y was a symbol that was closely resembled the character that represented thorn. So thorn was dropped, and Y took its place. It's kind of weird. As you may know, Y can be a vowel. That is why the word ye, as in ye old book, bookie shopping, is an spelling of the, ye, the, okay. Then we got YNN. What is the letter YNN? Wayne. The old English letter Wayne was replaced by U. So we get into the Superman in a minute, which eventually developed into the modern W. So W is really UU. Okay. I thought it would be VV, but okay. The letters U and J didn't join what we know as the alphabet until the 1500s. Now consider ancient history influences for the days of the week. Who is the attractive goddess that Friday is named from? We're not going to do all that. Okay, so they want me to stress that. Okay, so we'll go to um the Superman, I guess. Okay. Okay, we go to AI Superman. Can artificial intelligence make us Superman? MIT's Seeing Through Walls project is now running approximately 10 years and is trying to do just that. Last week, MIT presented their last results. Um, While Human Pose CVPR 2018 paperback, okay, PDF. This morning I've had a live interview on this work at BNR Business News Radio to hear back. Okay, so we all know that they're trying to make us superhuman, right? I'm trying to get rid of this stuff as I go. Hmm. Okay, I must have it here. Um, okay, now the German Superman, a man named Frederick Nietzsch. He first made the Superman, but it wasn't called Superman. It was called Uber Menschik. Uber. What I put on the first. When I put on the beginning. Overman or Superman is concept created by philosophy Fred. Okay, let me find it. Oh, what I was talking about. So it says the art of nothingness instead of the finger touching the male. It's touching like some sort of creature with two eyes. I wish I could see that. Some sort of creature with two eyes. The nothingness. Um, Just trying to get to the beginning. Okay. I don't know. Somebody must need this, or maybe this. I don't know. Okay. See, this was the first Superman, and it wasn't. It was a Z. It wasn't an S. Most exciting and yet weird aspects of his thoughts. What did he really mean by this unusual word? Okay, let's see if we can find out what that meant. The appearance of old man must famously occur and thus spoke Zarathustra. Um, Trying to get to the beginning. It says Ubermensch, German pronounced overhuman, is a concept in philosophy of Frederick, I told you about, in his 1883 book, The Thus Spook THUS spoke SOPSPOKE, that Z word I just said. He has character, that Z word posted the Ubermensch as a goal for humanity to set for itself. The U word, Uber, represents a shift from otherworldly Christian values and manifests the grounded man idea. In 1896, Alexander Tao made the first English translation of thus spoken Zarathustra, mm, rendering Ubermensch as beyond man. In 1909, Thomas Common translated it as Superman, following the terminology of George Bernard Shaw's 1903 stage play Man and Superman. Walter Kaufman Lams- lamstered this translation in the 1950s for two reasons. First, the failure of English prefix super to capture the nuance of the German Uber. Though in Latin its meaning of above or beyond is closer to the German. And second, for promoting misidentification of the N-word concept with the comic book character Superman. Kaufman and others prefer to translate Ubermensch as overman, as translation like superhumans, superior humans, might better fit the concept of the N-word as the man, as he has as he unfolds his narrative. Scholars continue to employ both mm, terms, some simply opting to reduce the German word. The German prefix "Uber" can have connotations of superiority. Wait a minute, let me see something. I'm sorry, I jumped, but I just the Uber word. It's Uber German company.
According to Wikipedia, Uber Technologies, Inc., San Francisco, California, U.S.
Okay. Hmm. Uber's co-founder and then CEO Travis Kalanick thought he could simply use the same gonzo strategy in Germany that Uber had used at home and other places as the company expanded beyond the United States. Founded as Uber Cab in San Francisco in 2009, the company now known as Uber Technologies. Yeah, I figured that, so it's a German company. Okay. Okay, let me go back. I'm sorry. Going all over the place, y'all. Um, the German prefix Uber can have connotations of superiority, transcendency, excessiveness, or intensity, depending on the words to which it is attached. Menschik refers to a human being, not a male specifically, as it is still sometimes erroneously believed. The adjective Ubermensch, whatever, means superhuman, beyond human strength, or out of proportion to humanity. This worldliness. He introduced the concept of the Ubermancy in contrast to his understanding of the other worldliness of Christianity. The Z word proclaims the will of the U word to give meaning to life on earth and admonish his audience to ignore those who promise other worldly fulfillment to draw them away from the earth. The turn away from the earth is prompted, he says, by a dissatisfaction with life that causes a suffering to imagine another world which will fulfill his revenge. Hmm. The Ubermensch grasps the earthly world with relish and gratitude. So is he saying that he invented it because he knew people would be disappointed by the system and the church of Christianity, promising them things they couldn't fulfill, and people getting tired and always imagining being out of this world. Okay, away from this world. That's what I'm thinking he's saying. So the Z word declares that Christian escape from this world also required the invention of an immortality soul separate from the earthly body. This led to negation and modification of the body, or ascension. So the Z word further links the Ubermensch to the body and to interpreting the soul as simply an aspect of the body. Death of God and the creation of new values. The Z word ties the U word to the death of God, while the concept of God was the ultimate expression of one worldly values and their underlying instincts. Belief in God, nevertheless, did give meaning to life for a time. God is dead means that the idea of God can no longer provide values. The N word, he says, refers to this crucial paradigm shift as a re-elevation of values. According to him, the moral doctrine of catechism had become outdated. So the God that y'all get it, he's saying that it's no longer needed. I kind of know what he's talking about. It's like another elevation. It was needed for that time, and then it's like another one took over another concept or another way of thinking. Anyway, the Z ties the U to the depth of God. Okay, I did that. Um, okay. Oh, okay. According to him, the moral doctrine of catechism had become outdated, with the sole source of values exalted. The danger of NIHILISM looms. I have to look that word up there. NIHILISM. Let me see what that means, because I took a picture of it. So NIHILISM meaning the rejection of all religious and moral principles and the belief that life is meaningless. Extreme skepticism, maintaining that nothing in the world has a real existence. The doctrine of an extreme Russian Revolutionary Party, 1900s, was found nothing to approve of in its estimated social order. What does it mean if a person is in that N word? Is the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. It is often associated with extreme prism and a radical skepticism that condemns existence. A true that word could believe in nothing, have no loyalties, and no purpose other than perhaps an impulse to destroy. Is that the nothingness, the despair, the doom, the gloom? I don't know. I've seen that on a couple of movies. What is example? As liberation. Some people see a lack of objective meaning as freedom. An example, transgender and non-boundary folks may look at the construct of gender and, with a healthy dose of this word, determine that there is no inherited meaning to the concept. Thus, they are free to define themselves how they please. Okay, I get it. Okay. So you don't have to be labeled. I guess that's what he's saying. Okay. The Z word represents the U word as the creator of new values to banish that word, the nothingness, okay? That N word. If the U acts to create new values within the moral vacuum of the N word, there's nothing that this creator act would not justify. Alternatively, in the absence of this creation, there are no grounds upon which to criticize nor justify any action, including the particular values created and the means by which they are promulgated, promulgate, in order to avoid a relapse into Platonic idealism or ascetism. The creation of these new values cannot be motivated by the same instinct that give birth to those tables of values. Instead, they must be motivated by finding my spot. Motivated by the same instincts that give birth to those tables of values. Instead, they must be motivated by a love of this world and life. Whereas the end, he diagnosed the Christian value system as a reaction against life, and hence destructive in a sense. The new values which the you will be responsible for will be life affirming and creative. Through realizing that new set of values, the you is perfect because they have mastered all human obstacles. As a goal, the Z word first announces the U word as a goal humanity can set for itself. All humans' life would be given meaning by how it advanced a new generation of human beings. The aspiration of a woman would be to give birth to the U word. For example, her relationship with men would be judged by this standard. The Z word concepts of the U word with the generated last nan uh, egalitarian modernity an alternative goal which humanity might set for itself. The last man appears only in the spoken Z word and is presented as a smothering of aspiration antithetical to the spirit of the U word. According to the Rudiger, Rudiger, some commentaries associate the U word with the program of eugenics, Eugenic's, no, that's not the rhythmic, eugenics. This is most pronounced when considering aspects of a goal that humanity sets for itself. The reduction of all psychology to psychology implies to some that human beings can be, okay, I lost it. Hmm. Okay, used by Nazis. The term the U was used frequently by Hitler and the Nazi regime to describe their idea of biologically superior or ARAN or Germanic master race, a race version of the N-word man, Uberman, became a philosophical foundation for National Socialist ideas. The Nazi notion of the master race also spawned the idea of inferior humans who, okay, he spelled it different. Untermenschliche, Untermenschen instead of Uber. Okay, who should be dominated and enslaved. Wow, inferior man. Wow, really. This term does not originate with the N word man, who was critical of both anti Semitism and German nationalism. So the N word man did not want this. He wanted everybody to kind of be free to be able to do what they wanted to do. But of course, Hitler came in and, spliced it like the Christian. In his final years, the N man began to believe that he was, in fact, Polish, not German, and was quoted as saying, I am a pure blood Polish nobleman without a single drop of bad blood, certainly not German blood. I know he just pissed off. In defiance of nationalism doctrines, he claimed that he and Germany were great only because of Polish blood in their veins, and that he would have all anti Semitics shot. He died long before Hitler's regime, and it was partly him, his sister, Elizabeth Foster, the last name, who manipulated her brother's words mm, to accommodate the worldview of herself and her husband, Bernard Foster, a prominent German nationalist and anti Semitic. Foster founded the Deutscher Volkswagen German People League in 1981 with Max Liebermann von Sonnenberg. The thought of him, the man that had the N word, had an important influence on anarchist Anarchist Spencer Sunshine writes, there were many things that drew anarchism to him: his hatred of the state, his disgust for the mindless social behavior of herds, his anti-Christianity, his distrust of the effect of both the market and the state on cultural production, his desire for an overman, that is, for a new human who was to be neither master nor slave, his praise of the aesthetic and creative self, with the artist as his prototype. Who could say yes to the self creation of a new world on the basis of nothing, and his forwarding of the translation of values as source of change, as opposed to a Marxist conception of class struggle and the dialectic of a linear history? The influential American anarchist Emma Goldman, in the preface of her famous collection, Anarchism, Anarchism, and other essays, defends both the man N-word and Max Stringer from attacks within the A word when she says the most disheartening tendency common among readers is to tear out one sense from a work as a criterion of the writer's ideas and personality. Frederick the N-word, for instance, is decried as a hater of the weak because he believed in the Ubermensch. He does not occur to the shallow interpretation of that giant mind that this very vision of the U word also called for a state of society which will not give birth to a race of weaklings and slaves. Okay, I get it. Workers must see themselves as human beings, not a class beings, as creative personalities, not as proletarians. proletarians as self-affirming individuals, not as masses. The economic component must be humanized precisely by bringing an affinity of friendship to the work process, then by demolishing the role of onerous work in the lives of producers. Instead, by total transvaluation of values, it as it applies to production and consumption as well as social and personal life. Now I get in me, because it makes hatred. It makes one class over another class. You're looking down on yourself if you're not at that class. Um, it just caused a lot of havoc, and whoever's doing this like that kind of stuff. So they like us all thinking one way about each other. Either you up and you think you better than the ones who down, and it makes enemies. I see what he was trying to say. Okay, interesting. Okay, so now we come from him, and we're going to quit creeping like that.
Oh, well, one more time.
What you gotta bring now?
Bring that food.
Oh.
And then take some of this upstairs. Clean my God. The water burn on hot.
Burn them.
Yeah, the burn on the stove on hot.
Oh, that's probably me, girl. Turn it off. I was making some coffee. Okay, so we kind of got the concept of the Superman, right? It was Uberman, but first about that, the Dawson. Okay. Um, Now we go to Spider-Man, which was a Spider Woman, and I found it as a black. It's native, not Southwest native, and then it also says grandmother. So we had the Spider-Man. Then I looked at, and I made the mistake earlier of showing the Spider-Man, which they wanted me to show, because look at his grandmother there. So it was a Spider grandmother, right? So let's read a little bit about that. Let's see which one they want me to do first, because they'll have me clicking on something I think, and then they'll totally do something else. Okay. Okay. The first version of Spider-Man was a woman. More than 20 years before Spider-Man made his first appearance in the Marvel Comics, a character called the Spider Queen debuted. Okay, so we got the Spider Queen. Okay. Spider-Man is without question the most famous web slinger to ever grace the pages of comics as we know it. However, Peter Parker wasn't the first spider-themed hero to debut in the comics, as more than 20 years before Marvel's Spider-Man's first appearance, a character named the Spider Queen came before him. Over the years, there have been hundreds of spider-related characters thanks to popular Intro the Spider-Verse series. The first Spider-Man was Peter Parker, who debuted in Amazing Fantasies number 15. What number is this? By 1962. While that character has remained a key cog in the popular culture machine, the Spider Queen actually appeared in the Eagle 2 more than 2 decades before the iconic web crawler. While she might have not stood the test of time, the Spider Queen was the first spider hero in comics. Check that out. Marvel just tied Spider Woman's origin, okay, be careful, to Spider Man's most hated story. The Spider Queen first appeared in the Fox feature comic The Eagle 2 by Elsa Lisau. Originally a scientist named Shannon Kane, she was the wife of Harry Kane. a brilliant scientist who was a chemist for the U.S. government. However, when enemies of the country killed Harry,
You
and
might keep some of this vegetables in the freezer though.
no, just take it over there.
Huh?
Just take it over there. Okay. Um, However, when the enemies of the country killed Harry and stole his scientific findings, Shannon discovered a spider web fluid formula her husband had been working on. The fluid is essentially web that can stick to walls and allows her to swing. She disguises her own special bracelets, devises her own special bracelets, and becomes a hero known as the Spider Queen. Okay.
We're gonna leave
So
one of
the
this, any
comic
of this
strip of
dry
her.
food.
I think I remember this. Huh?
You wanna leave any of this dry food on the
No,
counter?
just you can take that over there. Maybe leave. Now leave it just in case she come up too.
Huh?
Yeah, leave it. We'll bring it tomorrow.
Okay, well.
Hold on, y'all. I'm reading a lot. Take the smoke. I think I remember some of this. That see this show a little bit. I don't know if y'all can see it a little bit. Her doing the taking the potion. Okay, let's see. Spider Queen's reign, taking down street level thugs, wouldn't last particularly long, as she appeared in 3 issues of The Eagle and backed up stories before being forgotten for nearly 50 years. In a great twist, Marvel actually introduced Shannon Kane in the wartime story The Invaders #1, as a character retained her core origin and an updated suit. So how did Marvel get the rights to the character? Well, since she debuted in the 40s, she later became public domain, allowing the comic publishers to use her in their stories. Invaders #1 brought in a handful of public domain heroes into the Marvel universe, including Strowman and the Human Meteor. It's
Somebody asked about the tails.
okay.
They said, uh, how old is the chairs and where can I look at them?
Now that was dumb.
Huh?
I don't know how old it is.
I said I'm not sure and then in my phone.
Okay. It's unclear as whether the Spider Queen ultimately inspired Lee and Ditko's creation, but it's quite the coincidence that she swung on webs and created her own gullets to swing on webs as a costume hero. Regardless, the Spider Queen found a new life in the pages of Marvel Comics decades after debating, debate, whatever. Last appearing in Avengers 1959 and 2012. It's unlikely that would be the last time the Spider Queen has appeared in comics. Let's just hope it's not another 50 years before we see her again. Okay. All right. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Okay. So before Spider-Man was Spider-Woman, Spider-Queen. Now we have the Spider-Woman, a Southwest native myth. The Spider-Woman is the wisdom keeper, the grandmother figure, the female figure. When I wanted to get out from my illness, there was a Spider-Woman in my mind who spoke to me, and she became my strength and my courage to pull me out. Hopi artist Michael Kabadi. Spider-Woman appears in stories throughout the Southwest, often as a powerful teacher and helper. In some Southwestern cultures, Spider-Woman taught people to spin thread and weave cloth.
I'm not saying cooking something to eat.
Okay, thus sharing with humans the spider's ability to make webs. The Hopi speak of a spider grandmother who consistently weave her webs through the world itself into existence. And I believe that, and because the whole universe, it even about everything is connected through like a web, world wide web. That's where they get all of that from, right?
Put that stroller away.
It's in the back.
Oh, never mind.
I can get it. You want it? I can reach it now. Want me to get it?
No, I done got a whole two hands.
But you got to bring it back. It might be quicker.
That's all right.
Okay.
I just got some of my food. So it's minus some of the stuff in the bag.
All right. Through the world itself into existence. In the Navajo creation story, people traveled up through four lower worlds, creating chaos and disorder until they are banished from each in turn. At one level, they are threatened by a devastating flood, but Spider Woman rescues them by weaving a web to create solid ground before the water sweeps over them. And this excerpt from the Hopi snake myth recorded circa 1900s, a young man journeys to the home of the snake people. So we know the snake people now is black people with dreadlocks, right? There, with the help of Spider Woman, he meets a beautiful snake maiden. Spider Woman and the birth of the snake clan. On the walls of KIVA were hanging many costumes made of snake skins. Soon the chief said to the people, "Let us dress up now," and turning to the young man, bid him to turn away so that he would not see what was going on. He did so, and when he looked back again, the men had all dressed up in the snake costumes and had turned into snakes, large and small, but bull snakes, racers, and rattlesnakes. They were moving about on the floor, hissing, rattling, etc. So this is all Scorpio, right? Fitting for Scorpio season. While he had turned away and the snake people had been dressing themselves, Spider Woman had whispered to him that they were now going to try him very hard, but that he should not be afraid to touch the snakes, and she gave him many instructions. Spider Woman whispered to the young man that the one that acted so very angrily was the pretty maiden, and that he should try to take that one. He tried, but the snake was very wild and fierce, but not afraid. Be not afraid, Spider Woman whispered. He at once grabbed it, held and stroked it for four times upward, each time spurring a little medicine on it, and thus freeing it from its anger. The snake then changes back into a beautiful maiden. The two later marry, and their children become the ancestors of the snake clan. Hmm. Interesting story. Okay, so that was in their interpretation of two tribes. Okay, now we got um, women in AI. Future is female. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science are transforming technology rapidly. It is revolutionizing every single bit and place from education to healthcare, from government to automation, agriculture to security and surveillance. None of sectors remain untouched. The global pandemic has had a varying impact on different tech sectors, but the artificial intelligence, the demand for more experts and professionals in the industry is expected to boom. Researchers, technologists, and educators are consistently working so as to contribute to society and bring in a positive impact. It is therefore appealing that little we know about the faces behind this startling technology. There are many brilliant minds at the forefront of artificial intelligence, but the field of AI is far too male dominating, and despondent truth is only 12% of AI researchers are women. Although women were serving as role models, as ed- educators, researchers, professors, and entrepreneurs in the very best and inspiring way. Let's get inspired by some of the top women in artificial intelligence. Jana Eggers is CEO of Nara Logics, NARA Logics, a neuroscience-based artificial intelligence company focused on turning big data into smart actions. She's also an owner at SirCruise.com and marketing at Blackballed, BAUD, a math and computer nerd who took the business path. Jana has had a career that's taken her from a three-person business to 50,000 plus person enterprise. She opened a European logistics software, I bit my tongue when I said that, offices as part of American Airlines. Dove into the internet in 1996 at LYCOS, founded INTUIT possibly as Corporation Innovation Lab, helped define mass customization as spreadshirt and research conducting polymers at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Joy Buolmwini is a Ghanaian American computer scientist and digital activist based at the MIT Media Lab. She founded the Algorithmic Justice League, an organization that looks to challenge bias in decision making software. She uses art and research to eliminate the social implications of artificial intelligence. She serves on a global tech panel convinced by the Vice President of European Commission to advise world leaders and technology executives on ways to reduce the harms of AI. Her MTI thesis, methodology uncovered large racial and gender bias in AI, serves for companies like Microsoft, IBM, and Amazon. Her research has been covered in over 40 countries, and as a renowned international speaker, she has championed the need for algorithmic justice at the World Economic Forum in the United States. And she talked about Chevron Shivon Shivonzillis focus on machine intelligence for good. She is a project director, office of the CEO at Neuralink and Tesla, and an advisor to OpenAI. Previously, she was a partner and founder member of Bloomberg Beta. Siobhan is also a founding fellow of CDL AI and CDL Quantum Machine Learning. She fa- fails from Markham, currently lives in Silicon Valley, and is a Leafs fan for life. Okay, that was some good info on the women. Okay. I don't know, me personally, I have to know what's the outcome, what's the harm in the whole shebang, because the thing, the superhuman is putting this artificial intelligence inside of your body for its machinery, and then does it rust? Does it mess with your insides? The wiring, can you control me from that? And when I get ready for repair, and what if I can't afford it? You know what I'm saying? Different questions I have to ask. That's probably why you can't get a lot of women in there, because we need to know certain things. You know, why was Z once Removed from after. Okay, we read that. Okay, we read those. Okay. Okay. No, this shouldn't be here. It's spelled the wrong way. Okay, let's see where we're going to now. Okay, that's wrong too. Excuse me. Superman. Jerry Sagler and Joe Chester created a comic book character. Did we already do him? Yeah, we did, didn't we? We talk about the Uberman. Talk about her. Okay, now we need to go to Zeus. Okay, side note. Jewish hero, Superman. So the Jews like Superman. Okay. Did I talk about this before? So Superman's real name is Kal-E-L. Kal-El, son of Jorel, which means of God. El means of God, right? In Hebrew, with Kal-El defined as voice of God. You know, he got many names in the Bible. I just threw it away. A whole bunch of names, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah, different names of him. You call on for different things. Um, Lee's parents put him in a Moses-like basket, sending him down the Nile of the intergalactic space until he landed safely on Earth. Wow, that's a whole nother story. So this is the Moses story, right? But he was in space. So it's my theory of the Jesus ship being a spacecraft going from different planets and stealing people. Okay. Before Krypton's doom, Khalid's parents put him in a Moses-like basket, sending him down the Nile in intergalactic space until he landed safely on Earth. Superman and Moses relied on their faith and the kindness of strangers, and both had sets of parents who chose to send their sons unto the unknown. This all sounds a bit ridiculous, I bet. How could one ever think that Superman is Jewish? Why do I make this up? Well, it's true, and I'll explain how. Superman, as American as apple pie, has often overlooked Jewish heritage. 1933 was a year. Now, remember, Germans were here too. Okay. 1933 was a year that would change the comic book world forever. Two different and unrelated events occurred on opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean. United States, two unknowns in the comic book industry named Jerry Siegler, and Joe Chester created Superman. In Germany, Adolf Hitler became the chancellor of Germany, and forever their stories became intertwined. Sons of Jewish immigrants, Segler and Chester were born 4 months apart. Both grew up in Jewish households and ended up living blocks from each other in Cleveland, Ohio. Hearing and reading of the oppression and slaughter of helpless, oppressed Jews in Nazi Germany, they both had the urge to help. Their answer to help was Superman, orphaned at birth to protect him from a world destroying cataclysm. The Man of Steel is most often compared to Moses because they were both raised by non-Jewish families and eventually accessed magic powers to save their tribe. Superman's code of ethics, truth, justice, and American way, is very similar to the Masonic values of truth, peace, and justice. Superman was sent to Earth forewarned of his parents' demise, like a feudalistic Moses. Perhaps his most important link to a Hebrew is his identity as an assimilated immigrant. The 1930s New York that produced the world's first superheroes was ripped with the Jewish refugees fleeing the horrors of 1900th century Europe. In 1900, more than 40% of Jews in America were newcomers, 10 years or less in the country. The next 25 years would see another 1,700 million immigrants to America's shore. One Jewish character for inspiration for Superman was Golem, Golem. In modern era, the character associated with the 17th century pogromers, Pogroms, in the Jewish ghettos of Prague. Like Superman, Golem was a creature of intense physical strength, and his primary function was to defend the Jews of what was then the Roman Empire. Hmm. Though Siegel and Chester knew they could not physically hurt the Nazis through Superman comic books, they could have power to influence public opinion. Due to raising global's anti-Semitics in the 19th and 20th centuries, Golem resurfaced as a popular figure in Jewish culture. They never acknowledged the connection, but Siegel and Gusters used Golem as a basis for Superman down to the steel-like material Golem is made of. Both Superman and Golem were created to fight justice, to give people hope and strength, and both created in a time of crisis for the Jewish community. So Superman is made for the Jewish people, and it's made for the Germans, made the Uberman first. Okay. Uh, okay. I'll leave that alone. Okay, so that was interesting. Um, yeah. So we go to, I think I did that already. What characters move from the alphabet? They talk about the Romans wrote in cursive. And Romans scribes wrote in cursive. So when they wrote the Latin word et, which means and they linked the e and t. Over time, the combined letters came to signify the word and in English as well. Certain versions of the and sign clearly reveal the origin of the shape. Okay, I'll read out there. Okay. Okay, now it is Zeus. Understanding Z. Companies most chose a unique ticker symbol when they want to list on a stock exchange. This symbol, it says right here, Z is 50-letter identifier for NASDAQ stock symbols. It indicates that a stock is different from a single issue of common or capital stock. Z might indicate that the issue is a depositary receipt, stub, additional warrant, or unit. Understanding Z, companies must choose a unique ticker symbol when they want to list on a stock exchange. This symbol is made up of a series of characters that identifies the company's stock. It allows traders to execute transactions from these securities. The ticker symbol also identifies the stock exchange on which a particular security trades. For instance, a ticker with 3 letters trades on the New York Stock Exchange, while those with 4 letters trade on an NASDAQ. I'm not good in stock exchange. These ticker symbols may come with suffixes that alert shareholders to specific situations about the stock itself. Suffixes for that N word listed securities appear as 50-letter identifiers and follow a dot after their ticker symbols. When a 50-letter uh, appears, it identifies the issue as different from a single issue of common stock or capital stock. So the Z letter signifies identified, suffixes identify a variety of miscellaneous entities. Unlike other designations, this one can be fairly vague, so it's up to individuals, investors, and traders to do their due diligence. Doing a little research can help them figure out why the suffix is added to the end of the security's ticker symbol. Okay, okay, so that was cool. So that's the Z. Uh, the EUS of Zeus, I found it says Red Hat Enterprise, Linux, RHEL, Extended Update Support, EUS Overview. Read a little bit about that. Extended Update Support, EUS, is an optional offering for Red Hat Enterprise Linux subscribers. With EUS, Red Hat provides backports of critical and important impact, security updates, and urgent priority bug fixes for a predefined set of minor releases of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. EUS enables customers to remain with the same minor release of Red Hat Enterprise Linux for 24 months, allowing for stable production environments for mission-critical applications. EUS is provided with x86-64 Red Hat Enterprise Linux Server Premium subscriptions and is available as an add-on to Red Hat Enterprise Linux Server standard subscriptions. Red Hat Enterprise Linux for IBM Power LE and Red Hat Enterprise Linux for IBM Z systems subscriptions. EUS is now available for Red Hat Enterprise Linux Workstation Standard and Premium subscriptions as an add-on for a version of 9 only. Please contact Red Hat sales representatives if you are unsure if you have access to EUS and to help decide if it is appropriate for your environment. What customers use cases benefit for using this? Customers who have a policy of resurfacing application stacks when they move to new minor releases of Red Hat Enterprise Link. Customers who have sensitive workloads that require minimal change. Customers using third-party applications from ISVs who certify and specific Red Hat Enterprise Linux minor releases. How are updates to the EUS repository made? The inclusion criteria for fixes in extended update support repository will follow two general rules during a 24-month life cycle. 0 6 months includes generally the same ERATA release for the corresponding minor version, with the exception of driver updates. 7 to 24 months only critical and important impacts, security updates, and urgent priority bug fixes. At Red Hat's discretion and limit, new features or hardware enablement may be added to the EUS maintenance streams. This criteria was selected to reduce change to an environment and promote stability. Okay, they go on to say some other things. I just want to read a little bit of that. The best part of Zeus is okay. We talked about the thorn. Okay, okay. Go back to this. So, what's the purpose? With some information, true enough. Um, Find more about AI. I thought it was Zeus was SUS, so that's not correct. SUS, which is EUS. I thought it was SU. I don't know why I thought it was Zeus was suspicious and suspect. That's what I got from that. So I wrote the wrong thing. Okay, I wrote it the wrong way. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to get to where I was. S for Snapchat. Single letter abbreviation for strict. Streak. Okay. The ninth letter on the alphabet. Sagittarius. Um. Okay. Message was sarcastic. S. One user when they send something. Streaks and story. Words begins with S. South, seconds, and sun. SON. Sarcastic. TikTok. Negative outlook. Positive outlook. Twitter. S in Twitter is where you found something. Who created it originally? This was a joke. Thank someone for their input. Okay. Confused is WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Snapchat means confused. And we have Saturday, of course. Okay. S. What does the first letter of your name say about you? Your innate ideas and events, your positive thinking nature will help you a lot in life. You don't have to strive too much for wealth. Your gracious manners win you many fans. Smiling. Um, Superman Z mean. The House of Zoid was a significant family on the planet Krypton before its destruction. Known members were General Zord and his clone, and Favor and her clone, and Doomsday. The House of Zord originally took as its symbol of the Kryptonian letter for Z. See, this looks like a C. Looks like a S2, but it looked like a Z. Because when I was coming up, it was a Z. Okay. The Superman was originally a translation of German Uber. We read that Uberman. Okay, I think that's it. Um, and the purpose was about the AI, so we found out all about that. Um, oh no, I was supposed to be talking about um the separation of the top part and the bottom part. Third party would be AI, right? Um, taken out and put back in. Letters taken out, put back in. Medusa sperm. Okay. I'm not sure if I made my point. Oh, okay. Zeus is Thor. In the comic book, Zeus was. I asked the question, who was Zeus in the comic books? And it said Thor. Who was Zeus in the comic books?
According to Wikipedia, Zeus is a fictional deity, appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. The character is based on the god Zeus in Greek mythology. Zeus featured on the cover of Thor Annual Number 8.
Olympic god. Is Zeus a villain? Zeus is secondary antagonist of the 2022 Marvel Cinematic Universe film Thor: Love and Thunder. He is a Greek god of the sky and of the head of the council of godheads in omnipotent city and former idol of Thor. I'm the son. Zeus is a member of the Olympians, a group of humanoid beings that hail from the pocket dimension of Olympus. He was worshipped by the humans of ancient Greece and of Rome Empire. He is supreme monarch of the Olympians, god of heaven, sky, and weather. Who is Zeus to Thor? In the comics, Zeus was depicted as a mentor to a young Thor. Out of the respect and friendship between Zeus and Thor's father, Odin, the two shared a deep friendship. Once Odin died, Zeus acted as father figure and advisor. The film depicts the two at odds, with them trying to kill each other. Now I got why was let me see, I asked a question of what I had on the last one. Why was Superman and Spider-Man enemies? Superman versus Amazing Spider-Man: The Battle of the Century is a comic book jointly published by Marvel. Okay. It was the second co-publishing effect between blah blah blah. Okay, so what was the purpose of that? In the story, Superman and Spider-Man must stop the world domination destruction plot hitched and tandem by their respective archer mediums, Lux Luthor and Dr. Octopus. The issue is non-canonic as it assumes that the heroes in their respective cities of residence, Metropolis and New York City, exist in the same universe, with no explanation given as to why they had never before met or been mentioned in each other's individual stories. In early 1970s, author and literary agent Dave Obus suggested to Marvel Comics um, that there should be a feature film crossover featuring Marvel Superman and Spider-Man characters. However, there was already a Spider-Man movie in Warner Bros. And series Spider-Man TV, and so instead of two companies settled for an oversized comic book battle of the century. The comic was published in 1976 and featured the two title characters, as well as their girlfriends, their bosses, and their primary adversaries, Dr. Octopus and Lex Luthor. Put them down. Octopus. I keep coming back to that octopus and Lex Luthor. It was the second time the two U.S. comic book giants published a joint venture. The first was MGM's Marvelous Wizard of Oz. The writing was Jerry, done by Jerry Conway and the pencil Ross Andrew. Both of these creators had worked on Superman and Spider-Man before in their own titles. In 2006 interview, Conway laughed, "For my money, there was no rational way we are going to justify this team up. I mean, in that universe, on that world, did it take place? I looked at a chance to do the story for our fans, a fun story. It was chance to do the census. As a fan would like to see in his this fantasy, the interpretive gaps that some fans have said took place on Earth. The original edition lists no editor with the splashing reading, okay, blah, 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 blah. What if Newton the Watcher shows glimpse of various universes? Among these is Spider-Man about to receive a punch from Superman, showing his sleeve and fist only. Uda, UATU even poses the question as to whether the event happened in the mainstream continuum or an alternative reality. Avengers Forever, the scene with Dr. Octopus carrying Lex Luthor out of prison. Mosaic 4, one of Spider-Man's memory depicts him unleashing a volley of punches against a particular obscure Spider-Man. Plot summary. Superman rescues Metropolis from a giant robot attacked by his old foe, Lex Luthor, who manages to send some sort of stolen device to one of his strongholds of safekeeping elsewhere in New York City. Spider Man battles and defeats his longtime foe, Dr. Octopus, and his henchmen, sent to a federal super security prison designed for the incarnation of supervillains, Lex Luthor incarceration. And Dr. Octopus agreed to combine forces in order to conquer the world and kill both of the men who put them in the bars. In a matter of minutes, combine their abilities, the two supervillains escape. Newspaper photographer Peter Parker, Spider-Man alter ego, and Mary Jane Watson attended a press conference in New York that features a new satellite, constate capital of disruption, global weather patterns. Journalist Clark Kent, Superman's alter ego, and Lois Lane also attend, arriving at the plane from Metropolis. When Lois jumps into the claw, catwalk to get a better view of the satellite, excuse me, she slips and falls, Peter saves her life and introduces her to Mary Jane. Mary Jane gets a little jealous of her, who reassures her that she is not interested in Peter Parker. Then Lex Luthor, disguises as Superman, swoops in and shoots a teleportation. Hold on, now. A teleportation ray out of Superman's mask, deporting Lois and Mary Jane to an unknown destination. Luther flies away, and both Peter and Clark soon follow him and change into their respective costumes. Superman mistakenly blames Spider-Man for the disappearance of two women. The two begin to fight, but dodge each other's punches. Superman flies away at super speed, evolving to Spider-Man's next attack. While trying to defuse what is happening, Luther fires a gun at Spider-Man and irri- irri- irradiating the hero's costume with light similar to that emitted by a red sun. The red sun radiation negates Superman's invulnerability in regards to Spider-Man, allowing Spider-Man's punches to hurt Superman until the radiation dissipates and Superman is again vulnerable. When his punches, instead of staggering Superman, suddenly have little effect, Spider-Man calls off the fight, realizing they have been deceived. Spider-Man, suspecting a plot by Lex and Dr. Octopus, proposes they amicable join forces to solve the mystery and rescue the women. Moving to Africa, Spider-Man and Superman battle Dr. Octopus, Lex Luthor, and a native African warrior endowed by Luthor with super strength and endurance and a red sun irritable sword. Spider-Man and Superman defeat the warrior only by combining their powers and enlisting help from some native tribesmen. Superman steals an Injustice Gang spaceship from Luthor's base in Africa and heads into outer space with Superman to confront Dr. Octopus and Luthor. The supervillains have used the Injustice Gang's satellite headquarters computers in conjunction with the device stolen by Luthor to aggravate the Earth's atmosphere with a combination of sonic waves and laser, causing huge tornadoes and hurricanes worldwide. Superman is fled by the beams and high-pitched sonics, and Spider-Man loses consciousness when the spaceship's oxygen is compromised. The heroes awaken aboard the Injustice Gang satellite where Mary Jane and Louise are held captive. Spider-Man defeats Dr. Octopus by tearing off two of his robotic arms and sheltering his eyeglasses while Superman uses psychology to try to divide the villains. Dr. Octopus realized that Luther's sham, it allowed to succeed, if allowed to succeed, will eventually destroy human civilization, leaving him with nothing to rule, even if they prevailed against their heroic menace. He uses one of his robotic arms to destroy the weather machine's control console, stopping a potential disaster. Okay. An enraged Luthor attacks and defeats Dr. Octopus while Superman returns to Earth to stop a gigantic tidal wave from destroying most of the east coast of the United States. Ooh, scary. Superman defeats Luthor. Spider-Man defeats Luthor. Spider-Man returns to the satellite Superman returns to the satellite where Spider-Man has bound the two villains with his web. Congratulating themselves on a job well done, Superman and Spider-Man take the villains into custody. In an epilogue, Clark and Lois go on a double date with Peter and Mary. Blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm gonna have to find out more about it. I did find out The Spider-Man was a woman and a grandmother, and a meaning of that. Superman came from the German thing. He had a total different view of everything. Nazis, different one took it over and did what they did than the Jewish people. And Zeus, kind of different things about him. Not find out what I exactly wanted, but anyway, I just stayed on here long enough. I hope it's entertaining. Maybe if somebody answer something I read to whatever this is. Future Bomb, the Demolition Man still bug me, and the not feeling of the sexual thing. Definitely Scorpio going on right here. Of not putting the two together. Um, anyway, I'll see what else they want to tell me about that. Um, let me see. That's really right. Anyway, let me go back. All right, y'all. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. I hope it made a little sense. Okay. Information you didn't know before. All right. Love y'all. Bye.